Hey Dino Nerds, I'm Mr. D-Bear. Thanks for coming to the video. Today we're looking at bleed, and no, we're not just reading the patch notes and reading the Trello. We've actually done a lot of testing to see how things work, what affects what with the good old scientific method. So the things we're looking at today: does bleed affect stamina and health regen? What factors affect bleed duration? And what do we have left to figure out? Now, if you have any questions during the video or any information you think will be helpful, please leave them in the comments below. I would love to read them and I'll respond back. I do stream on Twitch every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so come by anytime and watch us roleplay and actually be sweaty dino players. All right, now that the introductions are out of the way, let's get down and dirty. We'll start off with the light stuff first. Does blood percentage affect stamina and health regen? The answer is yes. First, we tested stamina regen. At 100% blood pool, we used one Utah alt attack, and it took 19 seconds for the stamina bar to refill. When we changed our blood pool to 1% and used one Utah alt attack, we waited 1 minute and 10 seconds before finally sitting, and eventually at 1 minute 55 seconds before the stamina was returned to full. So yes, blood percentage does affect stamina regen at all levels: standing, walking, and sitting. Now onto our next bullet. Does blood affect normal health regen, the health bar that appears around your screen? We tested this by taking one Utah bite to the head at 100% blood pool, immediately wallowing, and sitting until the blood was off the edges of the screen, which took 1 minute and 20 seconds. We then set ourselves to 15% blood, took one Utah bite, immediately wallowed, and I waited 5 minutes and 8 seconds before I gave up on the healing. So yes, having low blood percentage does affect normal health regen. Now we're going to get into the heavy stuff, so get your big brains ready. Our hypothesis here: bleed duration is affected by the amount of stam, food, and water you have at the time of initial damage. Through trial and error, we eventually found a percentage of blood, which is 15%, that the Utah would either die or not die, depending on how much stamina, food, and water it had. In this first example you see, we show the Utah dying upon taking the bleed damage and having 0 stam, 0 food, and 0 water initially. And in this next portion, we show the Utah living from that threshold of blood, 15% blood, having full stam, full food, and full water on the initial hits. Now, we also tested kind of all the places in between, being completely full on resources and being completely out. So a mixture of no stam, full food, no water, full stam, no food, full water, and no stam, full food and water. All of these variables we changed. In all of these cases, the Utah did not die. It only died when it had completely 0 stam, 5% food, and 5% water. So from there, you can ask the question, what if you regained your stam, you regained your food, and you regained your water after the initial hit? Will you still die? The answer is yes. So to further test that it does matter what your stamina, food, and water levels are at when you take the bleed damage, and we set ourselves to 0 stamina, 0% food, 0% water, took our initial damage, and then we put our food and water to the max, and we still died, giving us further evidence that it does matter what your stamina, food, and water are at when you take the initial hit. We also reverse engineered this for the stamina. So starting out with max stamina, 5% food, and 5% water, taking the initial hit, and then running our stamina out and living, showing that even though we have no stamina while the bleed is ticking, because we did not take the hit at 0 stamina, we still live. So the last thing before I wrap up, I noticed that stamina does not work in a 1-to-1 ratio with food and water in terms of total bleed damage done and the duration. Now, because of the hotfix, I lost my controls and my parameters for testing this more, and I have to find new controls to test that. That is what I'm going to be working on next, is figuring out what that ratio is between stamina, food, and water, and what it might be affecting. And we're going to be delving into that more deeply in the next video about bleed. But I wanted to get all the stuff out to you guys now because I've been working on this for far too long. But in conclusion, what we do know is that bleed does affect your stamina regen and your health regen. We proved that the weaker you are in terms of stamina, food, and health determines how long and how much damage bleed will do to you. And we also know that there are other things going on with this calculation that we don't understand yet. Someone might have figured it out already. I don't really know. I need to meet them. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. We're going to try and get more bleed content out for you guys and try and do more science and figure this out. Also, we'll be coming out with more EVRIMA guides for all the new playables once all the dust has settled on update 2 and things settle in a little more. But thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time.